Hi guys, welcome to the World of Consulting Engineers South Africa, commonly known as CESA, but specifically to the YPF, the Young Professional Forum, and their development platform. My name is Corrie van der Wath. I've been involved in the 2017 Mentor of the Year competition of CESA. I'm also involved in a few other organizations, which basically boils down to the engineering space, the people development, and education space. I've been approached by the YPs with 8 questions, which reflects on how the world of a mentor looks and how would a mentor look at mentees. So here we go, enjoy the journey. When I get asked the question, what does it mean to be the Mentor of the Year? I would like to reflect on it as follows. Firstly, I need to give CESA, Consulting Engineers South Africa, credit for allowing an award in terms of mentorship. Because that is what our industry revolves around, the information that gets passed down to the next generation. And mentorship is absolutely the key to it. Secondly, it also leaves me as a mentor with the responsibility to develop mentorship further, to structure it better, to make sure that when we pass information on, it's concise, effective, and of good quality. And lastly, it is a massive honor to me to be the recipient of such a great award. The benefits of being a mentor in the industry obviously has many beneficiaries, which starts with the mentor as a person themselves, secondly with the mentee, and eventually with the industry. So, starting with a mentor, the first benefit I have is that I can learn from others. Also, the benefit is I learn from a younger generation, people who look at life very differently from the way we do, but we're trying to solve the same problem. The second one is, it is working with professionals and young professionals that are exposed to the same market that we are. And I think the third and important thing is, sometimes we forget that mentoring also equals networking. I say we are as it's not who you know, it's who's part of your network and who you know. So I spend a lot of time working on networks and youngsters. The youngsters also keep you on your toes, and they help you to polish them and yourself. Going to the mentees, there is a little story I always tell, that if someone passes away, it's like a library that burns down. If we allow that library to be passed on before it burns down, it has a lot more value. And that is the benefit that the mentees get from mentors, is that library is passed down, but also, I firmly believe, upgraded every time. And that's where industry benefits, is that we create a new generation that are more exposed, more experienced, and with bigger libraries. And that is what enhances our whole industry. So, in summing up, I benefit as the mentor. I build a network. I benefit mentees by passing on a library. And I think that is the value that it holds to our industry. So what is the qualities of a good mentor? It's something I want to reflect on and maybe answer in the following way. It is the eventual effectiveness and quality of the information that is captured by the mentee. Because to be successful, and when you work with mentees, takes me to another little story. One thing we as humans sometimes forget is the fact that we live between our ears. I cannot see into your world. I cannot see what you don't know. And as a mentor, I need to be very aware of the fact that I'm actually rebuilding my library into your library or your world that might look very differently than mine. And maybe I can use an example. I always, when I interact with people, I listen to how they phrase their responses to me. Example, if someone says, I see what you mean, it most probably means that they spend a lot of time in their library as a visual library. If someone says, I hear what you say, it's most probably an auditory library, and they will save a lot of their thoughts in terms of words. And the last one is kinesthetic, when someone says it feels right to me. So in transferring my knowledge or my library to someone else, the value exchange must also take into account that I'm building or rebuilding a library in someone else's world, and for that matter, head. So I need to create the channel to be as open as possible. The nice word would be rapport. To be in rapport with someone means that the channel between us are as open as possible. And the qualities of a good mentor is to access and open up that channel as much as possible, that I can leave the other person with the maximum benefit in the shortest possible time. Then I think it was done successfully and effectively. That I can transfer knowledge through an open channel to someone who's comfortable receiving what I'm passing on. One of the big questions in life is, how do we make time for things that are important to us, which includes mentoring? I believe that in the morning we all wake up with a tank full of fuel. Some people have big tanks and some people have smaller tanks. But how you spend your fuel determines how successful and how rewarding a day is. So, and it all boils down to priorities. If you can spend your fuel on the top priorities, those that will make you effective in achieving your success, you'll be a successful person. It's exactly the same for mentoring. If you spend your time mentoring a day and really spend it effectively, the person that you are transferring information to will find it a lot more useful. And it boils down to a word that I want to say, it happens naturally. So if mentoring and teaching other people and helping other people comes natural, there's another benefit to it. We actually free up our own time. In my direct work environment, one of the things I always focus on is to mentor and pass on information to people that can do something faster, quicker, and better than I can do it. Because that benefit to me is, it actually frees up two things: my time and my fuel to spend it where it's most valuable in achieving the priorities of my environment, the company, and for myself, and allowing mentees to learn from that and optimize their fuel and their time and their priorities. A question I get asked a lot is, how long and what would be the frequency when I engage with a mentor? Should it be a long duration? Should it be till I'm professionally registered? What determines the duration of that relationship? generally I find that once you've engaged with a mentor, the relationship is actually a lifelong one. It's the frequency of engagement that goes to once a week, to once a year, to once a few years. The focus should not be on the duration. The focus should be on the value exchange of the relationship, because that determines your duration. Because to some extent, a lot of relationships get to a maturity point where your value versus the time that you spend on input has lost a little bit of its value. And my suggestion is two things. Firstly, there's no rule that says you only have to have one mentor. And you might end up having a few mentors with different frequency of engagement. And that will dictate the whole duration of your engagement. Because remember, as I said, the whole purpose of mentorship and mentoring is to copy the best libraries out there and make it your own. So let duration work for you in terms of value exchange and the quality of the information that you receive. And make sure you nurture every mentor and every engagement you have to just get the best from it. One of the other questions that I get a lot from mentees is, where do I find a good mentor? Now, I need to start by just defining mentor. Sometimes we are looking for someone we can do face-to-face interaction with, and forget about that there are many other sources of mentoring than purely just to try and focus on one person and find that one person. We can, in our process of building our library, we might go to books, we might go to YouTube, we might read someone's autobiography, we might just take a magazine and read about mentors. Don't get yourself stuck with thinking it's very hard to find a mentor. For me personally, the easiest is your direct work environment. Surely there are people, senior and junior to you, that are doing things that you admire. The way they handle people, the way they do business, the way they handle difficult clients, their pure critical thinking, their problem-solving ability. And you sit, you look at them and you think, this is amazing. And what you do is, that's the perfect opportunity to find the next best mentor. Go to that person and say, I really admire the way you do business. Can you make some time and let me interact with you? And sometimes what I do with the people that I work with, because we have a mentoring program internally, I just take them to a CEO meeting with me. Or I take them and say, listen, we have an important meeting today. We're going to discuss how to go forward in marketing. And I know you've spotted in the past that you really sort of enjoy the way we handle marketing. Come and sit in and listen. And maybe let's spend 10 or 15 minutes afterwards and you ask me a few questions. So the point is, don't close up and look for a mentor. Open up and look at your environment. Look at every opportunity where someone is doing something that you can learn from. And that's most probably where I've learned 90% of what I've learned in life. So, as a mentee, how do I actually become a better mentee? Meaning, how can I open up to be more receptive of what's coming my way? Because the more we open up, the more we experience. The more we experience, the more we can enhance our library. So the first point of advice would be, we all have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And It's even hard for me. Use it in that ratio. Listen a lot. Reflect a lot. Try and understand the message coming your way far better than, and I'll give an example. I see a lot of people that while they're receiving a message, at the same time, they're phrasing and they're thinking about their answer. You're losing half the message. Open up to that. The second one, mentors want to see you progress. They want to see that you learn and you go forward. And there's a tipping point, because at some stage mentors give up on their mentees because they never reach that tipping point where you feel, I'm really going to get this person to be great. Because there's either a lack of focus, a lack of concentration. So what I'm saying is, whatever you get from your mentor, make sure it adds value to become master of your craft. Because that progress also helps the mentor to put in more effort. Develop your skills. Remember, we don't know what we don't know. And by opening up, we find that, and that is the base that we build from. So what's the crux of the matter? The more valuable you become, the more people will plow effort into you. Because remember, value in yourself also reflects into the relationship and back to the person who is adding it to your life. And then the last one and the most important one is pack your ego in a suitcase. It's tough for us all to be criticized. It's tough for us all when we fall behind the pack. But it's not how many times you fall. It's how many times you get up willing to listen, to learn, and to try again. So guys, in closure, I trust that you found value in the questions and the answers. We also do run a formal program for mentors and mentees. And please, if you need any assistance, contact us. And again, my name is Corrie.